First contact fallout. The United Earth ship Dauntless cut through the void like a blade of obsidian against the starlit canvas. Its sleek hull, reinforced with carbon nanoweave and quantum-stabilized alloys, bore the scars of previous encounters yet maintained its imposing presence. Commander Ilara Vega stood at the viewport of the command deck, her amber eyes reflecting distant stars as she contemplated their mission. "Commander, we're detecting multiple signatures entering the Arcturus system," Lieutenant Quan announced, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Configuration suggests a military formation, non-human signatures." Vega nodded, her expression betraying nothing despite the tension that rippled through the bridge crew. The Dauntless was on a routine patrol of Earth's newly established colonies, showing the flag and offering protection to the fledgling outposts that represented humanity's first tentative steps beyond their solar system. They were prepared for trouble, of course. No human ship ventured into the void without teeth since the Proxima massacre of 2189, but Vega hoped diplomacy would prevail. "Configuration and numbers?" she asked, her voice steady, betraying none of the adrenaline now coursing through her veins. 7 vessels, Commander. One appears to be a command ship, approximately twice our mass. The others are escort class. Energy signatures suggest significant weapons capability, reported Tactical Officer Rivera. They're moving to intercept. Commander Vega straightened her uniform and squared her shoulders. First contact protocols were clear, demonstrate neither fear nor aggression. Humanity had learned through bitter experience that many spacefaring races interpreted defensive postures as hostile intent. "No shields yet, but open communications on all standard frequencies," she ordered. "Let's see who our visitors are." The alien fleet approached with mathematical precision, forming a loose hemisphere around the Dauntless. The tactical AI highlighted potential firing vectors, with ethereal red lines across the main display. "They're hailing us, Commander," Communications Specialist Okafor reported. "Audio and visual transmission incoming." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that resembled a bipedal insectoid. Its exoskeleton gleamed with metallic purple undertones, while compound eyes dominated a triangular head. 4 arms were folded in what appeared to be a formal posture. When it spoke, a series of clicks and chirps emerged, quickly translated by the ship's AI. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered territory claimed by the Kravek Imperium. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Vega stepped forward. "This is Commander Ilara Vega of the United Earth ship Dauntless. We are on a patrol mission to protect human colonies in this sector. Our records show this system as neutral space, open to all under the Galactic Concordat." The Kravek commander's head tilted, its mandibles clicking rapidly. "Earth vessel." "Ah, the human species." There was unmistakable dismissal in its tone. "Your records are obsolete. The glorious Kravek Imperium claimed this sector 3 cycles ago. Your presence here violates our sovereign territory." Executive Officer Reyes whispered to Vega, "Intelligence has no record of any Kravek Imperium. They weren't in the Galactic Registry as of our last update." Vega nodded slightly. This wasn't uncommon. The galaxy was vast, and humanity was still relatively new to interstellar politics. Many established species viewed Earth's rapid expansion with suspicion or outright hostility. "We apologize for the misunderstanding," Vega replied diplomatically. "We would be interested in establishing formal relations with the Kravek Imperium. Perhaps we could arrange." "Your apology is noted," the Kravek commander interrupted, mandibles clicking rapidly. "However, unauthorized entry into Imperial space requires a demonstration of our authority. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded for inspection." Vega's expression remained neutral, but her posture stiffened. "I'm afraid I cannot comply with that request. Under United Earth law, I cannot surrender command of this vessel except to Earth Defense Force authorities." The Kravek's compound eyes seemed to shimmer with what the ship's xenobiologist quietly flagged as indicating aggression. "You misunderstand, human. This is not a request. The Kravik Imperium does not negotiate with lesser species. Your technology level is generations behind ours. Compliance is your only logical option. Around the Dauntless, the Kravik vessels adjusted their positions, weapon ports visibly opening along their hulls. All hands, yellow alert, Vega ordered calmly. Lieutenant Quan, passive scans only. Let's not appear aggressive. Commander, Rise cautioned, those ships are targeting our propulsion systems. Vega faced the screen again. Commander, I respectfully suggest we discuss this situation without resorting to threats. The United Earth Alliance has a policy of peaceful first contact, but we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. The Kravik commander made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. Defend yourselves. With what? Our scans indicate your vessel possesses minimal weapons capabilities. Your shields are primitive, and your hull composition would not withstand even a warning shot from our tertiary batteries. Vega smiled thinly. Perhaps your scans are as outdated as our star charts. This seemed to anger the alien commander. Since you refuse to acknowledge your position, a demonstration appears necessary. Witness the power of the Kravik Imperium, then reconsider your defiance. The transmission cut abruptly. Seconds later, one of the smaller Kravik ships fired a bright beam of energy that lanced past the Dauntless's bow, missing by less than 100 meters. Deliberate near miss confirmed, the tactical AI announced. Energy analysis complete. Polarized plasma-based weapon, approximately 4.7 terawatts. Vega nodded, unsurprised. The weapons technology was impressive, but not unknown to human military scientists. Defensive systems status. Phase shields offline as ordered, Commander, reported Chief Engineer Lakshmi from the engineering station. Aegis Point defense grid on standby. Prometheus protocol at ready status. Commander, the Kravik ships are repositioning, Quan called out. They're forming an encirclement pattern. On the tactical display, the Kravik vessels moved with choreographed precision, surrounding the Dauntless in 3 dimensions, their weapon ports glowing with building energy. They're charging weapons across the fleet, Commander, Rise reported. Energy signatures indicate they're preparing a synchronized barrage. The communication system chimed again. The Kravik commander reappeared on screen. This is your final opportunity, human. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding, or we will disable your vessel by force. Your primitive ship cannot withstand our combined firepower. Vega glanced around the bridge. Her crew was calm, professional, showing none of the fear the Kravik clearly expected to inspire. They had trained for this, had prepared for the day when humanity would face a technologically superior force that underestimated them. It was practically inevitable given how rapidly humans had expanded into space after the quantum fold drive was perfected. Commander, Vega replied, allowing a hint of resignation to color her tone. I can see we're outmatched. However, our laws require me to inform you that any hostile action against this vessel will be considered an act of war against the United Earth Alliance. The Kravik commander's exoskeleton rippled with what appeared to be amusement. War. Your species barely controls a fraction of a spiral arm. The Kravik Imperium spans hundreds of worlds across 2 sectors. Your threat is as insignificant as your vessel. Perhaps, Vega acknowledged. But I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't warn you of the consequences. Your warning is noted and dismissed. Prepare to experience the might of the Kravik Imperium. As the transmission ended, Vega's demeanor changed entirely. Gone was the conciliatory diplomat, replaced by the veteran starship commander. Red alert. All hands to battle stations, she ordered sharply. Chief Lakshmi. Initialize phase shield systems, but hold at 30% capacity. Let's not show our full hand immediately. The bridge lighting shifted to a deep crimson as alert klaxons sounded throughout the ship. The Dauntless hummed as its defensive systems came online, though outwardly the ship appeared unchanged. Commander, the Kravik fleet is launching what appears to be a synchronized weapons barrage, Quan reported, his voice steady despite the dozens of threat indicators now illuminating his display. Vega settled into her command chair, expression resolute as she watched the Kravik ships unleash their attack. Brilliant beams of energy and plasma torpedoes streaked toward the Dauntless from all directions. All hands, brace for impact. Initiate Prometheus Protocol. The Dauntless stood alone against the overwhelming firepower of the Kravik fleet, seemingly outgunned and outmatched. But as the alien weapons converged on the human vessel, Commander Vega allowed herself a small, grim smile. The Kravik were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating humanity. The space around the Dauntless erupted in blinding light as the Kravik weapons impacted the invisible barrier of the phase shield. Instead of penetrating or dispersing in the conventional manner of energy meeting a traditional shield, the beams and torpedoes seemed to distort, their paths bending and twisting before dissipating harmlessly. On the Kravik command ship, High Commander Zextrol stared in disbelief at the sensor readings. Impossible, he chittered, his dorsal spines flaring in agitation. Fire again. Maximum power. The Kravik fleet responded immediately, unleashing an even more devastating barrage. Planet-killing levels of energy crashed against the human vessel's defenses. For a brief moment, a shimmering geometric pattern became visible around the Dauntless, interlocking hexagons of silvery light that appeared and vanished so quickly that they might have been an illusion. On the Dauntless's bridge, the crew remained calm as the ship shuddered slightly under the assault. Phase shield holding at 42% capacity, Commander, reported Chief Lakshmi. Minimal power drain. Vega nodded. Status of the Prometheus Protocol. Fully charged and ready, Commander. Excellent. Vega turned to Communications Specialist Okafor. Open a channel to the Kravik command ship. The Kravik commander's face appeared on screen, his exoskeleton now a dark purple with rage and confusion. What trickery is this? He demanded. Our sensors indicated no such defensive capabilities. No trickery, Commander, Vega replied calmly. Simply technology you failed to detect. I tried to warn you about the consequences of attacking the United Earth vessel. Impossible. No shield could withstand that level of bombardment. Vega smiled. It's not a shield, at least not in the way you understand them. What you're seeing is a phase shield, a localized distortion of space-time that redirects energy around our hull rather than attempting to block it directly. The Kravik commander's compound eyes flashed rapidly as he processed this information. Such technology is theoretical even among the elder races of the Galactic Core. Theoretical no longer, Vega replied. Humanity has always excelled at turning theory into practice when survival demands it. Now, I suggest you recall your fleet, and we discuss a peaceful resolution to this misunderstanding. The Kravik commander's exoskeleton darkened further. One defensive system, however advanced, does not change the balance of power. Your vessel has no offensive capabilities that could threaten my fleet. You are still outnumbered and outgunned. Vega sighed. She had hoped the demonstration would be enough. I see. Lieutenant Rivera, target the smallest Kravik vessel with a Class 1 gravitational pulse. Just enough to demonstrate. Targeting complete, Commander. Gravitational pulse charged and ready. Vega faced the screen again. Commander, this is your final warning. Withdraw your fleet, or we will be forced to respond to your aggression. Your bluff is noted, human. The Kravik commander replied. Perhaps when your vessel is a smoking hulk, your species will learn its place in the galaxy. Vega's expression hardened. Fire. From the Dauntless, an invisible ripple pulsed outward, striking the smallest Kravik vessel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the alien ship began to distort, its hull compressing as if caught in an invisible vice. Metal screamed as the localized gravity well crushed inward, reducing the once proud warship to a crumpled mass of twisted metal in seconds. Silence fell across all communication channels as the remaining Kravik vessels processed what they had just witnessed. By the ancestors, the Kravik commander whispered, his translator failing to mask the fear in his voice. That was a Class 1 gravitational pulse, Vega explained, her voice now cold. The weakest setting on our Prometheus array. We developed it after studying the physics of neutron stars. I suggest you reconsider your position before I demonstrate a Class 2. The Kravek commander's compound eyes darted to his officers off-screen. Urgent chittering could be heard in the background. This changes our assessment, he finally responded. We will withdraw to reassess the situation. But know this, human. The Kravek Imperium does not forgive transgressions easily. We will return. We'll be waiting, Vega replied simply. And Commander? Next time, I suggest you scan more thoroughly before making assumptions about primitive species. The transmission cut, and the Kravek vessels rapidly disengage, jumping to FTL with obvious haste. As the last enemy signature vanished from their sensors, the tension on the Dauntless's bridge broke. Several crew members released audible sighs of relief, while others exchanged grim smiles. Well done, everyone, Vega acknowledged. But this isn't over. They'll be back, and next time they'll come prepared. They seemed rather confident in their assessment of our capabilities, Rise observed. Arrogance will be their downfall. Vega gazed out at the stars, her expression thoughtful. It often is. But we can't rely on that. XO, set course for new Titan colony. We need to warn Earth Command about our new friends. And Chief Lakshmi. Yes, Commander. Prepare all systems for a real fight. I suspect the Kravek Imperium doesn't take humiliation lightly. As the Dauntless engaged its quantum drive, Vega couldn't help but wonder what the Kravek would bring to bear when they returned. But whatever it was, humanity would be ready. They always were. Reckoning. 3 weeks had passed since the Dauntless's encounter with the Kravek Imperium. Commander Ilara Vega sat in her ready room, reviewing the latest intelligence reports from Earth Command. The holographic display showed a concerning pattern of Kravek fleet movements near human space. A soft chime announced the arrival of her executive officer. Enter, Vega called, not looking up from the data. Commander Reyes stepped through the doorway, his typically composed features tight with concern. New intelligence from our deep space monitoring boys, Commander. The Kravek are mobilizing. And not just a scouting party this time. Vega accepted the data pad he offered, scanning the information with practiced efficiency. 23 vessels, including 3 Dreadnought-class ships. They're not taking any chances. No, they're not, Rise agreed. Earth Command has dispatched reinforcements, but the nearest battle group is 2 weeks out. We're on our own until then. Vega stood, walking to the viewport. New Titan's blue-green surface filled the lower portion of the view, its fledgling colony of 20,000 souls visible as tiny lights on the night side. Just beyond the planet's curvature, the Dauntless's sister ship, the UES Valiant, maintained its patrol position. 2 ships against 23, she mused. Not the odds I'd prefer. The Valiant doesn't have our full suite of defensive capabilities, Rise reminded her. Captain Takahashi's ship is excellent, but it lacks the Prometheus array. Vega nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. Then we'll need to be smarter, not just stronger. The Kravek are coming back expecting our phase shields and gravitational weapons. We need to give them something they haven't seen before. She turned to face her XO. How's Project Lazarus coming along? Rise raised an eyebrow. Chief Lakshmi reports it's operational but untested in combat conditions. Are you thinking what I think you're thinking? Vega's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Tell Captain Takahashi to prepare the Valiant for evacuation simulation. I want the colony to think we're conducting a standard drill. Meanwhile, have Lieutenant Quan plot a recon mission to the Magellan Nebula. I want detailed scans of the ion storm in the outer reaches. The Magellan Nebula. Rise looked puzzled. That's a significant detour from our patrol route. Exactly, Vega replied. The Kravek need to believe we're running scared. and the nebula has properties that might just give us the edge we need. 3 days later, the Dauntless and Valiant arrived at the periphery of the Magellan Nebula. Massive clouds of ionized gas swirled in breathtaking colors, while electromagnetic storms raged at the nebula's core. Sensors detect the Kravek fleet has altered course to follow us, Lieutenant Kwan reported from the tactical station. Estimated arrival time: 6 hours. Perfect. Vega nodded. They took the bait. Now let's prepare our welcome. For the next 5 hours, the 2 human vessels carried out a carefully choreographed dance. To any observer, and Vega was certain the Kravek had scouts watching, it would appear they were desperately trying to hide within the nebula's interference. In reality, they were laying the groundwork for an ambush decades in the making. Project Lazarus is deployed and active, Commander, Chief Engineer Lakshmi reported. All 97 units are in position and synchronized with the Dauntless's quantum field. And the Valiant's crew? Vega asked. Transferred to the Dauntless as ordered, Rice confirmed. Captain Takahashi is on the bridge and requests permission to join us. Granted. I want him to see this. Captain Hiroshi Takahashi, a veteran of the Mars campaigns, entered the bridge with measured steps. He nodded respectfully to Vega. Commander, my ship is prepared as instructed. Though I must admit, I've never abandoned a vessel for a tactical advantage before. You haven't abandoned her, Captain, Vega assured him. You've given her purpose. The tactical display showed the approaching Kravek fleet, 23 warships in tight formation, led by a massive dreadnought nearly 4 times the size of the Dauntless. They've detected us, Kwan announced. The Kravek fleet is accelerating. They'll be in weapons range in 20 minutes. Vega nodded. Right on schedule. Take us deeper into the ion storm, reduce power to 30%, and deploy sensor decoys along our previous trajectory. The Dauntless glided into the swirling maelstrom of charged particles, its hull occasionally flickering with electrical discharges. Behind them, the Valiant remained at the nebula's edge, appearing vulnerable and seemingly experiencing power fluctuations. Kravek fleet has detected the Valiant, Kwan reported. They're dividing their forces. The main group continues toward us, but 8 vessels are breaking off to engage the Valiant. They're cautious, Takahashi observed, learning from their previous mistake, but still making a new one, Vega replied. Status of Project Lazarus units. All units maintaining quantum entanglement with our systems, Lakshmi confirmed. Ready on your mark. The minutes ticked by as the trap prepared to spring. On the main view screen, the Kravek vessels approaching the Valiant came into weapons range. They're scanning the Valiant intensively, Communications Specialist Okafor reported. Attempting to penetrate our sensor masks. Let them get a partial reading, Vega ordered. Just enough to make them confident. The lead Kravek vessel fired a warning shot across the Valiant's bow, a repeat of their tactic from the previous encounter. Incoming transmission from the Kravek command ship, Okafor announced. On screen, the familiar insectoid commander appeared, though now adorned with additional markings on his exoskeleton, likely denoting increased rank after surviving the previous encounter. Commander Vega, the Kravek chittered, mandibles clicking rapidly. Your attempt to hide in this nebula betrays your fear. The Kravek Imperium has studied your vessel's capabilities extensively since our last meeting. Your gravitational weapons and phase shields are impressive, but they will not save you today. Vega leaned forward in her command chair. High Commander, I see you've been promoted. Congratulations. The Kravek's compound eyes flashed with irritation. Your insolence remains unchanged. We have brought sufficient firepower to overwhelm your defenses. Surrender now, and we may yet be merciful. I appreciate the offer, Vega replied with deceptive calm. But I have a counter-proposal. Withdraw your fleet from human space permanently, and we'll forget this unfortunate series of misunderstandings. The Kravek commander's mandibles clicked rapidly in what the translator identified as laughter. You are in no position to make demands, human. Our analysis indicates your vessels are experiencing power fluctuations, likely a result of your earlier display of force. You overextended your capabilities, as lesser species often do. An interesting theory, Vega replied. Would you care to test it? On the tactical display, the 8 Kravek vessels surrounded the seemingly vulnerable Valiant, while the main fleet continued its approach toward the Dauntless's position in the nebula. Your vessel may have survived our first encounter, Commander, but your escort ship will not be so fortunate. Once it is destroyed, you will face the full might of our fleet alone. Vega's expression remained neutral, but her eyes hardened. Chief Lakshmi, is Project Lazarus ready? Yes, Commander. Awaiting your command. Vega stared directly at the Kravek commander. You should have scanned more thoroughly. With a nod to Lakshmi, Vega gave the order. Activate Project Lazarus. Full spectrum. Aboard the Valiant, systems that had appeared dormant suddenly surged to life. The seemingly abandoned vessel began to pulse with energy, not from its conventional power core, but from thousands of quantum resonators embedded throughout its structure. What is this? Demanded the Kravek commander, his composure slipping as new readings flooded his sensors. This, Vega explained calmly, is Project Lazarus. Your scientists aren't the only ones who've been busy since our last meeting. The Valiant's hull began to shimmer, not with the hexagonal pattern of phase shields, but with a rippling wave that distorted light itself. Then, to the astonishment of the watching Kravek fleet, the human vessel appeared too. Multiply. 1 Valiant became 2, then 4, then 16. Perfect duplicates spreading outward from the original like ripples in a pond. Within seconds, the 8 Kravek vessels found themselves surrounded by what appeared to be 64 identical human warships. Impossible. The Kravek commander chittered. This is some kind of sensor deception. Is it? Vega raised an eyebrow. Lieutenant Rivera, have drone cluster Alpha fire a warning shot. Low yield. Demonstration only. From 16 of the Valiant duplicates, energy beams lanced out simultaneously, striking the shields of the lead Kravek vessel with surgical precision. Its shields flared brightly but held. Confused. Let me explain, Vega offered, savoring the moment. Project Lazarus isn't a weapons system. It's a quantum duplication array. Those aren't holograms or sensor ghosts. They're quantum entangled duplicates, sharing the same physical space across parallel probability states. Each one is as real as the original, from a certain point of view. On the tactical display, the Kravek vessels began to break formation, their coordinated approach dissolving into chaos as captains reacted individually to the impossible threat before them. You're bluffing, the Kravek commander insisted, though his mandibles trembled. Such technology violates the fundamental laws of physics. Does it? Vega smiled. Humanity has always had a talent for rewriting the rules when necessary. The universe isn't as rigid as most species believe. We simply exploit the flexibility. As if to emphasize her point, the Lazarus duplicates of the Valiant began to move independently, surrounding the Kravek vessels in a 3-dimensional sphere. This is your final warning, Vega stated, all pretense of diplomacy gone from her voice. Withdraw from human space immediately, or we will be forced to demonstrate the full capabilities of our technology. The Kravek commander chittered urgently to his officers off-screen, clearly receiving conflicting reports and recommendations. Even if these duplicates are real, he finally responded, mandibles clicking rapidly. Our combined firepower still exceeds yours. We will not be intimidated by parlor tricks. Vega sighed. I was afraid you'd say that. Lieutenant Quan, activate the remaining Lazarus units and execute attack pattern Hydra. Throughout the nebula, the 97 quantum resonators that Chief Lakshmi's team had strategically placed began to pulse in synchronized harmony. The electromagnetic storm itself seemed to respond, swirling and condensing around the devices. Then, to the horror of the Kravek fleet, the Dauntless underwent the same transformation as the Valiant had, but on a much larger scale. Hundreds of duplicates materialized throughout the nebula, each one seemingly solid and real, their weapons systems hot and targeting the Kravek vessels. This cannot be. The Kravek commander stammered, his translator struggling to convey his disbelief. The nebula enhances the quantum field, Vega explained conversationally. Those ion storms you thought would hide us, they actually amplify our duplication capability exponentially. Instead of mere dozens of duplicates, we can generate hundreds, each one capable of independent action, each one armed with the same gravitational weapons you witnessed during our first encounter. On the tactical display, the Kravek fleet had completely lost cohesion. Several vessels were already turning to flee, while others maintained position but powered up their shields to maximum. "You have 10 seconds to commence withdrawal," Vega announced. "After that, we open fire with everything we have." The Kravek commander's compound eyes darted frantically between displays off-screen. Finally, his exoskeleton sagged in a gesture of defeat. "Stand down," he ordered his fleet. "All vessels, disengage and prepare for immediate withdrawal." As the Kravek fleet began to retreat, Vega nodded to her communications officer. "Keep the channel open. I want them to hear this." She stood from her command chair, addressing not just the Kravek commander but his entire species. "Let me be absolutely clear. The Arcturus system and all human colonies are under the protection of the United Earth Alliance. Any future incursion will be met with immediate and overwhelming force. We did not reveal the full extent of our capabilities today, but be assured, what you witnessed was merely a fraction of what humanity can bring to bear when threatened." The Kravek commander's mandibles clicked softly. "The Imperium acknowledges your claim. We will respect your territorial boundaries." "Wise decision," Vega replied. "Perhaps in time, we can establish more productive relations. Until then, I suggest you update your database on primitive species." As the last Kravek vessel disappeared into FTL, the bridge crew of the Dauntless erupted into cheers. Captain Takahashi approached Vega, a look of amazement on his weathered face. "Incredible strategy, Commander. But I must ask, how much of what you told them about Project Lazarus was true?" Vega smiled enigmatically. "Enough to make them believe it, Captain. In warfare, perception is often as powerful as reality." The hundreds of dauntless duplicates had already begun to fade, the quantum resonance disintegrating as the power sustaining them was cut. Soon, only the original Dauntless and the Valiant remained. "Chief Lakshmi," Vega called. "Excellent work with the holographic projectors and sensor masks." The integration with the quantum field disruptors was seamless. Lakshmi grinned. "Thank you, Commander. Though I should note that the actual number of functioning prototype duplicates was significantly less than what we displayed." "How many functional duplicates did we actually create?" Rise asked. 3, Lakshmi admitted, and they could only maintain coherence for approximately 8 minutes before quantum decay would have set in. Vega laughed. 3 against 23. Still not odds I would have chosen, but sometimes it's not about how many ships you have, it's about making the enemy believe they're outmatched. As the Dauntless and Valiant set course back to New Titan Colony, Commander Vega knew the encounter would spread throughout the galaxy. The legend of the human vessels that multiplied to defeat a superior force would grow with each retelling, becoming more fantastic with each iteration. And that suited humanity just fine. In a galaxy filled with ancient, technically advanced species, sometimes the most powerful weapon wasn't a gravitational pulse or a phase shield. It was doubt. The seed of uncertainty they had planted in the minds of potential adversaries would protect human colonies far more effectively than any fleet. The Kravek would tell others what they had witnessed, and the story would spread. Never underestimate the humans. Their technology defies understanding, and their ships can become many. Commander Ilara Vega smiled as the stars streaked by. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them fear. And most importantly, let them think twice before they ever again mocked a human warship.